All right, I'm all in. I gotta admit, after the first two episodes, I was a little bit skeptical, but this one convinced me. I'm in it for the long haul. Wandavision Episode 3 is now streaming on Disney Plus, and before I start sharing my thoughts on the episode, I did just want to say I will probably end up spoiling quite a bit from the episode, so if you have not watched it yet, you'll want to make sure you go do that before watching this video. I want to start off by saying this. If you had taken this episode out of the MCU, if we didn't know that something else was going on, like if there wasn't some sort of deeper underlying story, I would have enjoyed this episode just as like an episode of sitcom TV. It was really enjoyable. I thought Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany acted the crap out of this episode. They never really got a chance to flex their acting chops in the Marvel movies, and I felt this episode they really got a chance to like just do some back and forth, and I was really impressed by them. This episode is wacky, it's zany. The kind of overall plot of the episode is Wanda is pregnant and she's kind of gotten an accelerated pregnancy. Like she got pregnant 12 hours ago, but she's already showing like she's about to give birth. And so the whole episode is Wanda and Vision not only preparing for the baby to come, but also hiding the fact that she's so far along in her pregnancy from her neighbors. And this reminds me of an episode of a TV where you have like aliens trying to fit in with their, human neighbors. It's a tried trope, but when it's done well, it's funny. And I thought this episode was really well done. But you know that my main criticisms of the first two episodes were there weren't enough of those little intrigue sprinkles. Like there weren't enough hints of what was actually going on to really get me invested in the episode. And this one, boy, did we have quite a few. And this is where some spoilers are going to come in. There's a scene earlier on in the episode where Vision is talking with his neighbor Herb, I think is his name, and he's like trimming some hedges, and then the camera kind of cuts away for a second, and then it cuts back to him, and he's like trimming through the brick fence, and he's sort of like glitched out. He's just like smiling as he's doing it, so we know that something's kind of wrong there. Shortly after that, Vision goes back inside and he's talking with Wanda, and he says he thinks something's wrong, and then for a split second the screen glitches and you might think something's wrong with your web browser or whatever, but nope, it's just Wanda realizing that Vision's catching on, so she rewinds time real quick, and then he's like, oh, I'm just nervous about the baby. So again, that's something that hints that something bigger is going on. But the big stuff in this episode comes with Geraldine when she stops by and realizes that Wanda is pregnant and starts to help her give birth. And so Wanda gives birth to one son, and then shortly after that, another son is born. And Wanda and Geraldine are kind of standing over the crib, and Wanda starts talking about her brother, Pietro, when he was killed, and Geraldine mentions Ultron. And Wanda's like, wait, what did you say? And so this is where Wanda starts to kind of figure out that something's going on. Geraldine has like the sword logo that was present on the helicopter from the second episode. So again, something's going on with Geraldine. At the same time that this is going on, Vision is outside talking with whatever the guy's name was. I already forgot. Herb and Catherine Hahn's character. I think it's like Agnes or something. But the two of them are talking, and they're like, hey, do you notice that Geraldine just kind of moved in with no family, no husband, no nothing? And it seems like they're about to reveal something to him. Like they know that they're trapped, but they can't entirely break free. And so Vision has this really strange conversation with them, and then he goes back in the house and Geraldine is gone. And we get like the camera's kind of like almost from the crib perspective looking up at Wanda, and Wanda's like, oh, she's gone. And right after she says that, the aspect ratio of the screen changes. It goes from kind of the 4:3 with the little black bars on the side to full screen. And we get a shot of the actual town outside, and Geraldine just comes yeeted out of like this invisible barrier, and she just flies into a field where she's immediately rushed by a bunch of army looking vehicles, and there's a bunch of spotlights on here, and then the camera kind of pans out again, and we see that this entire town has sort of like a barrier around it, and the army or whoever has posted up, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. So it seems like Wanda might be the antagonist of this series. We're not really sure yet, but regardless, this episode gave me everything I wanted and more. It was a good episode of just a standalone sitcom, but also when you factored in the intrigue sprinkles it gave me, this was by far my favorite episode of the series so far, and really makes me want to see what's coming up next. So I'm going to give this episode, WandaVision, an 8.5 out of 10. Alright, so episode 3 of WandaVision. Have you seen it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and be sure to stay tuned to the channel for more videos.